What's up, guys? So today we're doing a match breakdown for Bryan. Bryan is a member of the Chewjitsu Facebook group. If you guys don't know about it, we do a weekly hangout, usually on Sundays, around noon or so. But Bryan posted this match of his recently, and so it was a really good match. I think it's really fun, and there's a lot of good takeaways from it. And so I wanted to break it down for you guys on the channel. And so he was cool with me doing that, and so let's go ahead and jump on in. So Bryan is going to be the guy here with the long sleeve rash guard and spats on. And we're going to get started with the match. Now right here, he's got a really good front headlock snap down to a guillotine.
Not shy about wrestling with you. You got that? You got it? Keep staying.
Now, Bryan, I'm just watching this, and again, you know, I'll just sort of preface this with this. You had a great match, and you did a lot of things right. I'm going to go through the things that I would sort of pick apart that maybe you could do better or change. Here you had a good attempt for that standing guillotine, but then again, this guy starts defending. I would have liked to have seen you get your hips back right here. I would have liked to see you get your hips back and then maybe snap the person down into a full guillotine on the ground and finish it there rather than try to do this standing. Just because right here, it's just not working. It's going to be a lot of power required. I would have liked to see you get deeper or get that elbow deeper in that position. Because right there, if you notice, your elbow's sticking kind of way out. And for a guillotine, that means that we're going straight against the trach and the neck, and it means we're going to crank a little bit more. Whereas if you can get that elbow a little bit deeper in there, you probably could have got a good standing finish, or finished it. Now this thing right here, I don't know if you could hear the noise on that thing, man. Boom. I don't know if that guy hit his head or not, but it sounded brutal. So I don't know. Hopefully that was your back and not his head, because if it was his head, I'm sure he was dazed for the rest of the day. But right here, his body landed on the side that you had the choke. And if you would have gotten to your your right hip, and thrown your left leg over, you probably could have finished this guillotine, because if you have the person on the same side, their body on the same side as the choke, you can finish him. Now this guy's pretty smart. He hops over, gets to the other side, so he's out of danger of the choke. But his hips are a little bit high, and you're able to roll him over. And you hear the coach right now talking. Initially, he gave the guy points, but because you had a submission going, you're not supposed to get the points, which, again, that's typically the rules. And so they end up taking the points away. And then they gave you 2 for the sweep.
There you go. You got your point.
Now right here, I'm going to bring this up early, and I want you to look at it, Bryan. So right here, notice what happens. You're still hanging on to the head, and you don't do anything to check this near side leg, right? And this is going to kind of reoccur. I just want you to notice it early. So if you're in side control, you always want to block that near side leg. You always want to block that near side hip with your knee, your hip, your hand, something. Because if not, watch what happens here.
There you go.
Boom. He just slides it right back in, and then he gets to his guard, half guard. And so we'll see this again and again, and I just kind of want to bring it to note because it's a really simple adjustment that I think you can probably fix. Now, you're in this position, and it looks like you're still hanging on that guillotine. Honestly, if you're going to try to finish the guillotine, I would have rather seen you maybe try to slide this knee up to mount, but if not, just let it go and just move to something else, because it's not quite there.
All right, Bryan, stay. You got 2 points. You're up 2-0. Be patient.
And here's what I would say for you guys watching this. If you get a guy in a submission, if you don't feel a certain sort of panic in them, and you'll get used to this. When you get a submission really close, people begin to panic. If you don't feel a certain level of panic in that person, I would tend to move away from the submission, or at least readjust your grips there, because it's probably not there.
Guards open, you can pass now. Pass now. Pass now. Pass now.
Now right here, notice this. This is, again, another thing worth paying attention to. When you get in this position, he's able to bring his legs back in front, and you have both of your hands on his body, his upper body, right? If the legs go in front of you, again, the guard itself is the legs and the hips, right? That's the basic guard position, full guard. So we want to focus our attention on those legs.
Stay calm. This guy's crafty.
Now right here, I would have, I would have liked to see you maybe kind of go under the legs or get control, and you end up grabbing the neck here. Now let's take a look at this position. Right now you're grabbing the head with both your arms, which typically you don't want to do that in no gi. And then right here, his hips are right up under yours, and that's a bad position for you on top because, again, this person's in the offensive position, and with your weight loaded like that, you're not going to be in a good, your base is not strong. You're literally, your center of gravity is loaded under the power center of his body, his hips. So I don't like that position. I would have rather seen you got back a little bit more and, again, pulled your body back. If you watched the video recently, I talked about not letting your head go past the belly button, right? Because, again, if we start leaning over too much, I mean, there's an exception to the rule, of course, but when our body's leaning over top of that person like this, we're loaded, and it really depends on where they want to take us or how they want to take us.
If he wants to sweep you, he can. I don't want him to sweep you, though. Back away now, back away now, back away.
Boom, and that kind of was what happened. Your hips were off, and you were kind of loaded on him, and he was able to take you off balance. Now, you do a good job of fighting out of this armbar,
Stay on top.
or out of the sort of the sweep position, and you manage to get on top. Boom, and right into that front headlock position. I thought that was really good.
Nice scramble.
You get up on your toes, got the weight there, and you spin to the side. Good adjustment, and right here. Now, in this position, he grabs your leg, and you could have done a really good crucifix take, or you can even take the back off this. Now, I see right now you're trying to fight with that cross face, and you need to drop your hips a little heavier here to stop that. And you can bring this arm that you've got wrapped around his waist, you can bring it over to this hand that's cross-facing, and you could get like a gable grip and really help reinforce it and just pry his face away. Because right now you've got the right hand cross-facing, and your left hand's over here sort of grabbing his waist. I would take that left hand and grab that face and just rip it, just like that, but just really drop those hips down. Little too late. Now they don't give him points for this, and I don't know why, because that should have been points. You were in a neutral position when you guys were both up, and he got the takedown. So it should have been, to me, a takedown. But he gets on top here and in this position. And I see you trying to work this arm lock there. And anytime a person's in kind of this over-under position, really work on the head. Push the head away. Make the head move so the body has to. Kind of like that, but then, again, he starts to move. So break you guys. All right, real quick, I want to make note of this because this will come into play in just a second. Your butterfly guard position. When you play butterfly guard, notice right here that your butt, if you line it all the way up to your head, it's about in line with your head, right? And that's not really where we want to be in a butterfly guard position. In butterfly guard, we want the head to tip forward in front of the hips, and that'll give you sort of a stronger position to fight from because you have like forward pressure. In butterfly guard, if you're either sitting up straight or if you're leaning back, it's just not the best position. And you'll see why that is in just a second. So you're sitting there right now. We should be leaning more into a crunch position. And just right there, notice how you're sitting up straight. As soon as he passes, you really don't have any forward pressure to fight with, and he can slide right into position. Now, they give him the pass for this, and I don't know that I would have, because right here you've got a grip on the arm, and he really doesn't. Again, side control should be, when you pass guard, you should have to demonstrate complete control of the person's body, and typically that happens when everything settles. Right now, you've got a Kimura attempt. It's there, and it's not quite where it needs to be, so I don't know if I would have given him that. But he does pass to your back, and so that would be the pass plus the 4 points, so that's fair. Now, he doesn't hold it for too long, and you're able to get back on top. Now, at this point, the match is kind of winding down.
Get the submission, babe.
And I believe you're down on like 2 points or something. I forgot what it was. They don't have the points there, but the points were a little screwy to me. I didn't really know kind of how everything was being scored. Now, look at this again. All right, we're inside guard. Again, guard is if you're on top where you are, Bryan, you're not in a good position. Again, you should be thinking defensive and breaking that guard open. And I don't know if you're maybe trying to attempt an arm lock or something, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to go after the arm there. And if you notice what's happening again, your hips are loaded up under their hips again, and it's a bad idea. The arms are being extended away. So kind of just a general rule, when you're in a defensive position, the further away your arms get from your body, the worse off they are. Because, again, when you're in a defensive position, just think of mount. If your arms, your extremities get pulled away from the body, that's going to be a bad idea because, again, they're going to be vulnerable. And right now, your arms are vulnerable. And on top of this, your hips are loaded up on top of this person's hips. So it's just a bad spot. So I don't like that. I would have liked to seen you started to break the guard. Now right here, notice he starts to pull this leg in a little bit like this. He gets a good underhook here. You do a good job of prying this leg out on the other side. That was good. And then you start to go to the pass. Now right here, we're going to look back at that blocking of the near side hip again. Right here, your hands are sort of far forward. We want to bring those hands down and lock the hips down. It's kind of hard to see because of the quality, but you start to try to spin. And notice right here, he brings his near side leg. You go all the way to the other side, and he brings his left leg right on in. That's going to play over and over again. So one of the things I would say is when you go back to the gym, definitely be mindful of the way that you block the near side hip because basically he frames, your hands are kind of on the mat and not really on him, where weight's not really heavy, and he brings that left leg, whoosh, slides it right on in again. Working the posture back up,
half, yeah.
prying the leg up,
No, minute
all
and a
good
half.
stuff.
Minute and 20.
Passing, very good. Going down. Now right here, notice again that damn near side hook. You got to block that. So you can take your left hand to block his right leg. And if he's posting like this, notice how far his arms are fully locked out. If you ever get someone that's really strong, really resisting, and they've got their arms here, there's a number of different ways that you can switch your hips and get past that. But you could also simply just go knee on belly, right? Just go knee on belly when they push away from you. Now, that was a good movement right there. Let's look at that again. Boom, just like that. Notice what that does. You're blocking that near side leg, and that really messes him up. See, notice how his whole body has to change just because you block that space for that knee to come back in. Beautiful movement with the left knee. It's a little swiper action. And now notice he's no longer able to simply bring that leg into place, and it's a lot more difficult for him. See right there? That was beautiful. So again, I just wanted to bring note of it because you did it there, and a lot of times during this match you didn't do it. So that's something I would definitely be mindful of when you get back to the gym and train. Now you're down by 2 points at this point because you got the 3, right? So now you got to pass the guard again to get those points. Now look at your hips again. They're getting super high. And luckily he didn't take you too far off balance and you were able to make it out of it. But again, just be mindful of that.
Guards open, guards open.
Pass.
30 seconds.
Now right here it is again. So this guy's strong, man. He's like framing with straight arms, okay? And again, that damn leg's in there, right? So we got to block that. So that was one of the things that was really kind of giving you some trouble there. And again, sometimes you can use your knee, but you can also use this hand right now that you're using to post, and that can grab that leg and move it out of the way.
You're down by 2, Bryan. 20 seconds.
20 seconds, need to pass.
15 seconds.
15.
10 seconds.
Now, it's not the best side control position, right? Because really, it's not a good side control position at all. But he's giving you the points, and I think this is based upon the fact that this guy is not doing anything. He's just kind of, at that point, he's like cooked, right? You guys are having this back and forth battle, and it's tough. So it's one of the things also just to take notice of when it comes to competitions. Body language plays a role into it. This guy he breathed for a second, he took a break, and then that's where the 3 came from. Because honestly, this isn't the strongest side control position.
8, 7.
And he manages to make it back out of there again.
3, 2, 1.
Boom. So, good match, right? So I guess I don't know the point system that they were using, and I didn't count all the points during the match, but I think you won by a point, right? You won by that last pass that you got. So it was a gutsy performance. You and your opponent went back and forth. Was pretty fun to watch, and I wanted to share it. A couple takeaways that I think would be useful for you is one, if you do decide to play some butterfly guard, make sure that you lean more forward, because again, if we don't lean forward, you don't have any forward pressure to fight against, and you'll end up in these situations where you're constantly getting leaned, like sort of thrown back. And then again, when you are passing, let's see if I can find it right here. Do not leave these hips open. So one of the things that you might try to do, I've had similar issues back in the day. Go in your gym and find the guys that have like the best guards and train with them in no-gi, practice breaking their guard and practice passing their guard. Because again, we want to make sure that we get out of this leaving our hips over top of their hips, because that's going to be a bad idea. Don't want to let those arms get exposed away. Now the last thing I guess to maybe throw out at you would be to, where was it? The passing, right? That near side hip. Well, you did it, where is it? Right here, I think?
Yeah.
Let's see. More of that, more of blocking that hip. And honestly, you know, with your guard passing, you may want to have a couple, because you were doing a lot of standing passing in the no-gi, you might want to start working some like lowers, tight passing, double unders, over unders, things where you can really keep those legs. Because if you get a guy like that who is pretty mobile, pretty, you know, quick and moving with you, you can try to like lock them up a little bit tighter to stop that movement. So Bryan, thank you so much for sharing the match. And again, you did a lot of things right, did a lot of things really well, and you eventually won the match. But I wanted to try to break it down and at least see some of the things that I think that maybe you can improve on. And a lot of them are really simple, like really simple things. And I think that a lot of times this is the best stuff from tournaments, is where you do well, or even if you lose, but you have a good match and you can take away some of like the little mistakes that you can look at from there. Because again, you did some good stuff and there's lots of little details there, just like moving your knee, you're blocking that hip, not letting your hips track over top of the person's hips. Things like that could make a big difference in your game. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you guys have any questions, you can put them down in the comments below. And if you guys would like to submit a video like this, like where you submit a competition match or something like that, you can do it in the Chewjitsu group, or you can message me on Facebook or Instagram, or even my email, my contact email on chewjitsu.net, and send me a link of the video so that I can actually watch it or download it and do a video on it. So Bryan, thanks so much, brother. And guys, I'll talk to you guys next time.